I believe there's this unique time right now where nobody's going to really figure out social media marketing for real estate investors specifically, and it's super undervalued, and I'm just going to go dominate it. The sellers are on social media. Yeah. Why is nobody trying to get them?
Thank you for being the first guest.
Dude, I'm
on
honored.
Our rebrand.
I'm honored. I know I was on Real Estate Disruptors 3 times.
That's right.
So I'm honored I'm the first here, baby.
First one. And
yeah.
I thought of you to be the first person to be part of our rebrand because you've gone through a few evolutions.
Yeah.
Right. A few changes. So when you first came on, we were talking about like your real estate journey from baseball to real estate.
Yep.
And then we talked about how on the other episode, how social media has opened up all these venture possibilities.
Yep.
And you've gone through to launching events.
Yep.
Communities.
Yep.
And so on. So let's talk about your journey, and we'll talk a little bit later on about reason for my rebrand.
Yeah.
So it's been a couple years. What has transpired in the last 2 years for you?
In the last couple of years, a lot of things, man. Obviously, the real estate market shifted a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so real estate investors had to deal with that, myself included. So I would say on that front, it was actually very difficult. Anyone that tells you otherwise in real estate is probably not being truthful. So dealing with that was tough. But, I always tell people tough times force innovation, right? Because you either just keep sticking with things that aren't working because the world and the markets and marketing, they all shift. And so I'm thankful to have gone through it because it's forced a lot of different things. One thing we had to do was take all of our marketing in-house. We always relied on agencies for years in all my businesses. And so by taking everything in-house last year, it created all these new different opportunities and products and things that we do today that I'm excited about.
So talk about that, bringing marketing inside. So what were you doing before and what are you doing today?
Well, let's just go with 2 different forms of marketing, right? So we had social media, organic marketing. So I always did that in-house. And I think that's why we had so much success.
Yeah.
We got over 1 billion views on social media in just like 3 years. And there's always all these agencies that will do social media. And I've hired them too, but we were always core in-house. And that's what allowed us to have so much organic traffic that's generated tens of millions. But on the paid side, I never wanted to focus on that because, honestly, you can only focus on one thing at a time. Very few people are so good at organic and so good at paid.
Right.
I could probably literally count on one hand how many I know. And I was finally all right, dude, at some point I'm going to have to learn the paid game. I'm going to have to understand what all these agencies do that we're hiring because to me anyways, it didn't seem like rocket science.
Yeah.
I'm like, if we could figure out this organic side, this paid side can't be that much harder. And so that was kind of the journey I went on.
So all the agencies that are listening, you just tune out.
Well, but look, it's true because look at how many agencies there are and then look at how many real stars on social media there are. One is clearly harder than the other.
Yeah.
And I tell this to real estate investors too. They're like, dude, should I do social media? Should I do coaching? Should I do this? I go, how many 7-figure real estate investors are there versus how many stars on social media are there?
Yeah.
There's far more 7-figure, thousands % more.
So let's talk about the agency model. Why don't you think that was working? And I'm rehashing private conversations you and I had, but for everyone else that's listening.
I think the agency model is tough for many reasons. One is they don't make a ton of money off the clients, right? They'll charge a retainer and then they'll charge a percentage of ad spend in most cases. Some may have a profit split deal. But with the agencies, the problem is they have to work to an individual client for every client they bring on. So if I'm like, hey, Steve, dude, I got an agency. I want to work with you. It's like, dude, I got to study your brand. I got to understand your products. I got to get you to make content and ads and creatives. We got to write a whole new webinar, a script. Dude, there's a lot of work to get you just going. And we don't even know if it's going to work.
Right.
Because it's not proven at all. And we don't even know if your product is any good.
Yeah.
And so all these factors play into it. And then guess what? If it's not working, you fire the agency. And if it's working too good, you're like, dang, I should probably just take this in-house. I'm paying these guys too much money. So there's no in-between where it's this long-term solution for most people. So that's why it's tough on a traditional agency perspective, whether they're trying to get a educator or somebody to get real estate leads or somebody, a service-based company. It's hard. Yeah. Now, where I do see agencies work is when it doesn't have to be individualized. And, I've seen agencies work for service providers who are like, hey, we help AC companies get leads. And it's like, they don't need the founder to make content. They don't dude, we're just going to get you AC leads. And we're going to
give you leads.
Yeah, we're going to just do it for you. So that does work.
Yeah. So just to add, further context, right? So let's say I hire Ryan Pineda's agency.
Yeah.
Right. And like, I've got some organic content. I'm doing okay, but I want to grow. So I hire you. Yeah. Right. And I pay you 30%. And it works, right? If I'm making 100K, you make 30K. Okay. That works. But now you're really good.
Yeah.
And now you're making me 500K a month.
Yeah.
Now I'm starting thinking like, well, I'm paying Ryan 150K. What kind of talent could I get?
Yeah.
For 150K a month?
Yeah.
That's the downfall.
You do your job too good.
Yeah, you're too good. And the reward for being too good is you get replaced.
Yep.
And I think the other thing too is like, remember how good the COVID money was, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right? When everyone was getting
I need some more of that COVID money.
Yeah, when all that stimulus money was going out, everyone was buying this product, that product, right? So like, as an agency, you didn't have to be that great. As a star, you didn't have to be that great.
Yeah.
Right? Like if you were creating content and you're selling courses, you're making money.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
24 is a little bit different.
Way different.
Right? Can you talk to me about the environment that's changed?
Real estate investors, are you tired of getting low quality leads and talking with sellers who've been hit up by everyone else? Well, what if you could get inbound leads of motivated sellers on autopilot without any effort? Well, that's exactly what we do at Lead Kitchen. Over the years, I've spent millions of dollars on direct-to-seller marketing. I've done PPC, I've done TV commercials, I've done cold calling, text messaging, direct mail. I've done the pay-per-lead services. And look, all of them can work. A lot of them don't. At the end of the day, I have found a new method that is getting me better results than I've ever seen in my career. I'm getting lower cost per leads than ever before, and it's not just in Las Vegas, it's across the country. And so if you want to take advantage of this new innovative marketing strategy that takes no effort on your end, I want you to go to leadkitchen.com and book a call with my team today. Imagine having my team running your marketing with the same leads that I'm getting in my business. That's what you can have. So just go to leadkitchen.com today and book a call. Yeah, I mean, in the education front, once again, people won't talk about it, and if they're not, then they're just lying. But dude, I mean, here's the thing. Information is so freely available now that it's not valuable anymore. So it's like things that, and we've seen this in the last 10 years, right? It used to be, there was no education. Let's just take real estate as a great example. 10 years ago, education was hidden. You had to go to these big seminars and everything else to
pay $25K
to even learn about it, right? To even know what wholesaling was.
Right.
Then, bigger pockets and other things came around and started to become more freely available. But still, like, even they weren't properly teaching. They weren't doing any coaching and mentoring and stuff. So people had a hunger for that. And so, pre-COVID, post-COVID, myself included, people start selling education, and, you could sell $5,000, $10,000, $30,000 programs. And for the most part, people are willing to buy it because they had COVID money, the market's good, rates are low. Everything is in favorable conditions. Well, today in 24, things are a lot different because the market's bad. People don't have money. Also, too, information's just more freely available. So people are like, well, dude, like, I know what wholesaling is. So what are you going to do? And then, like, even another thing is like, well, okay, there's community. And yes, I'm a big believer in community. Don't get me wrong. But even that is not as valuable as it used to be.
Right.
Case in point, like, we have something called Wealthy University. It's $97 a month. And you get education, information, you get weekly calls, you get community for $97 a month. That used to cost $10,000 for a year. Now, this is great for the end consumer, but if you're an education provider and your 10,000 thing is now worth $97 a month, what do you do?
Right.
And it becomes tough to compete too, because if a guy like me says, this is what it's now in my mind worth, and you're still trying to sell the same thing or worse for 10, good luck. But that's what the market is.
Yeah, this is that we keep moving the bar, right? Because like there was like what was free. So before, what was free was like, here's how you wholesale.
Yeah.
Right. Now it's like, well, not here's how you wholesale. Here's how you motivate your people. Right. Here's how you track KPIs. That's all free on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So then what do you get in the community? You just get a little more access, a little more information.
Yeah.
And you're trying to sell that all for $10,000.
Yeah.
That model, the what's the word I'm looking for? The value of what someone's willing to pay, the price someone's willing to pay today.
Yeah.
Has grossly shifted.
Grossly shifted. And so it's great for the consumer. And it's actually great. Like I said, I'm not mad about it. because I will pivot and I will adapt and I'll create a whole new model where it's like, dude, instead of helping, say, 100 people at 10,000, why don't we help 10,000 people at 100?
Right.
And all of a sudden, the numbers are the same, except now you have recurring revenue in one model, and you help way more people in that model.
Right.
And you create the opportunity to ascend and give them more help beyond just information, true help with implementation, one-on-one help with helping them figure out what's going on in their business, because that's what people will pay for. They will always pay for implementation. They will always pay for done for you. They will always pay for services. But the idea of education has dramatically flipped.
Right. So you mentioned that being really good at organic, it opened quite a few opportunities for you.
Yeah.
Getting good at paid now has opened up additional opportunities. What are some of the opportunities you're excited about at the moment?
Well, I'm excited about that opportunity, right? Like, I mean, for $97 a month, like, it's crazy the value you get, but also it allows me to now sell it without a sales team, because you can sell it on your own. You don't need, this call to sell a $97 thing.
It's a problem if you're doing that.
Yeah. And like, labor is tough to scale, but if you build a great funnel where you can all of a sudden sell 97s and self-liquidate them, meaning that if I spend $97 to get a customer, and then they give me 97, that's a win because, I don't make money this month, but every month thereafter, we make money and we help more people. So it's actually created a new model I never thought about before. And so I'm excited about that. And it's all pure marketing, whether or not you can just be great at getting that customer for 97 and getting them to buy the thing.
Yeah.
That's all landing pages, VSLs, ads, all that. But then the second opportunity came actually in the real estate space, because I just got tired of seeing cost per lead go up on everything. I got tired of, like, I've run TV commercials for 4 years. And, dude, I mean, like, I literally never changed the TV commercial in 4 years.
I still remember. So we had an event in Scottsdale, right? This is like peak COVID, or like, this is August of 2020, right? And so we hosted an event, right? You came in, Carlos, Jamil, Pace, all of us, we all came in, right? And you're like, guys, I just joined Collective Genius. There's this guy, Darren. He sells TV ads, and I'm doing it, and it's just crushing. You guys should be doing TV.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys had this. So talk to me about, like, what was the cost per lead back then on TV, and then, like, what did it evolve to this year?
Yeah, so I mean, like, I started doing TV in January of 2020. And dude, I don't know that I remember what the cost was back then. Maybe it was in like the 200s. And at the time, nobody was doing it, and it was great. And like I said, literally, I ran the same commercial for 4 years. But I've just watched it continue to increase to 300, to 400, sometimes 500. And like, you see the same thing happening with PPC. PPC would have been couple $100 to 300 to 400.
It was $12 a lead when I was doing it.
$12, right? Now, in many big markets like Phoenix or Vegas, it could be 800, 1,000. Right. And I'm looking at this and I'm like, dude, at some point it becomes too much. And basically, your margin's going to be what it is. Your ROAS is going to be stuck at what it is. And look, I've always taught students, I'm like, guys, if at scale, if you can get a 3X, you can make good money. If you could spend 50K and make 150K in revenue, you got commissions and other things, but you'll net 30%, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just started to think about it. Like, I thought about social media years ago, and I was like, there's better ways. And finally, I made the choice in January. I was like, you know what? I'm going to just burn the boats and go all in. I'm going to cut off all the things that we've been doing, and I'm going to just run ads for myself on social media, because nobody's doing it.
Right.
Like, every time you ever hear someone talk about doing social media ads on Facebook or something, it's always negative. They're like, oh yeah, it didn't work. And I'm like, that's honestly what's prevented me from doing it all these years. And plus, all the other stuff was working fine, so I didn't want to worry about it. But then the more I thought about it, the more I was like, how many people say making organic content doesn't work? Majority of people. And I'm like, you know what? My guess is these guys are just bums. They just don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Because clearly social media works. Yeah. Clearly everyone's on it. These motivated sellers are on Facebook. It's not like, They just don't they only look at direct mail and they only search PPC. They're actually on social media way more than those other things.
Right.
So why is it not working? It's more so it's a problem of skill.
Sure. So what did you do then? So you turned off TV?
Yeah.
So TV's off.
Yeah.
So it's just your Facebook right now.
Yeah.
All right. So you realize you came to the realization.
Yeah.
And it's a skill issue. So you went all in on it.
Yeah.
So what have you done since?
Well, let me tell you, it wasn't all freaking roses right off the bat because you don't know what you're getting into, right? Like I've spent millions on social media marketing, paid and organic. So like I already had like a pretty good idea of what needed to happen. But what I didn't realize was I made a few big mistakes on my front, which is good because it leads you to the conclusion quicker.
Right.
First mistake I made was I didn't do it in Vegas initially, where I'm at. So just those who don't know, I'm in Vegas, and that's where we've done pretty much all our deals. I got so just mad at like what Vegas costs were on other forms of marketing that I was like, I'm going to go like get the cheapest leads imaginable, and I'll figure out dispo to close them, and I'll create this crazy model. So I just started going nationwide marketing.
Just USA. What's the target? USA.
Yeah, basically, right? And dude, I was getting leads for like $20. And I was like, this is crazy. An inbound lead for $20. And like, we were locking up deals like gangbusters. I was like, I'm about to be the richest person in real estate. This is crazy. And sure enough, we realized that like most of these deals could not sell because they were in too rural of areas. And, you know, because of that, I was like, all right, well, this isn't working. So I spent about 2 months realizing that, because you just don't know. Like you lock up these deals in the first, you know, bunch of weeks. Then you're trying to move them for a month. And then you realize like, oh man, the same thing is happening over and over again. So basically after 2 months, I was like, all right, the marketing's good, but we're just in the wrong markets. Let's try like a step up. Let's get what I would call a tier 2 market. You know, maybe not a Vegas or a Phoenix, but let's go after a like San Antonio,
Reno, Tucson.
whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. I started targeting those markets, and then I started to see cost per leads at like $60. And I was like, all right, like that's still like super cheap. And so we lock up deals in those markets. Now, this ends up being better, but still like not optimal. We locked up a bunch of deals in these tier 2 markets. We closed some, others fell out. What I realized was now this is your arena. We had a sales issue because we didn't actually know what the properties are worth. Because even though they look great on all the apps and softwares and everything, dude, everything is local. You just don't know what somebody's willing to pay. And we got all the tools. We got Investor Lift. We got everything to find all the buyers, and we would call them and everything else. And you just realize there's so much you don't know about other markets until you're there.
Yeah.
On top of that, I do believe, because we've always been a go-in-person appointment kind of company, that because we were closing so many, well, all virtually over the phone, I think we had higher fallout even when we did have a buyer because there's just more skepticism. We never met in person. We're not local. We don't live there.
Are you real?
Yeah, like, they're like, is this really happening? Like, so I think you run into those issues. Now, like I said, we still close deals. We have a ton in our pipeline right now that are out-of-state deals that, you know, have been assigned, that are closing and everything else. But I just realized, I'm like, dude, that was dumb. I should have just went with the constant that we know, Vegas, and tested that, compared to that. So anyways, I do that for a couple of months. Then I go to Vegas, and I'm like, all right, let's run them all in Vegas now. Let's stop all this stuff. You know, like those deals will continue to happen and close because of the pipeline built up, but let's just go Vegas. And so we go in Vegas, and, you know, we're getting leads for sub $150 a lead, and these are inbound leads. And you know, I literally asked my team, I go, hey, legitimately, guys, tell me about the quality of these leads versus everything else we've ever done. My team's been with me for 5+ years. Like, how's it compared to TV and PPC and these other forms that are the cream of the crop, right?
Yeah.
They're like, honestly, they're the same, dude. Like, they want to sell. They all want market value. Everybody wants market value.
Shocker.
Right? Like, people aren't dumb if they're on the internet, okay? And so they're like, but they're motivated. They want to sell. And so we start sending them out on appointments again. And then sure enough, we see like, yeah, we're seeing pretty much the same kind of ratios. And maybe they might not be as motivated, but dude, you give me 5 times the many at bats, it's a way better model.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's what we're currently doing. And like I said, we're locking up more deals than we ever have before, just because the cost per lead is so much less than our other channels. And I'm really a big believer in it because I've just realized now, after thinking about it and seeing the results, I'm like, oh man, this truly is like a competitive advantage.
Yeah.
Because think about this. Real estate, as we know, is like the most ancient, like,
antiquated system.
Yeah. And so every marketing channel you've ever been taught, think about how uncreative it is. We're like, hey, go pull a list of foreclosures or any of these other, things and cold call them and text them. There's no competitive advantage. It's just cold call and text them. Whoever cold calls and texts a lot,
whoever does the most effort,
can win. But there's no competitive advantage.
Yeah.
Think about direct mail. We all send the same postcard, and like, there's not really anything to it. Okay.
Yeah.
TV. I ran the same commercial for 4 years. I didn't have to change anything.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of, are others willing to come in this space and do more? And guess what? People did come into the space once they realized, oh man, there's a good return here. And so now, like in 2024, we would have like 4 people in Vegas running TV commercials versus none a couple of years ago, right? And I just started to realize, like, TV takes no freaking, like, there's no competitive advantage. And then you realize with PPC, it's the same thing. You just bid on some keywords. Like, it's not rocket science.
Right.
So I thought about all that. And then I thought about social media. And I was like, dude, you know how hard it is to compete in social media? I have to make ads every week to keep the cost per lead down. I have to be good on camera. I have to have a good copywriter and scripts. And we got to constantly do new ads and creatives. We got to have good targeting on the media buying side. We got to manage the budget properly every single day. Like, there is true competitive advantage to this that others just don't understand how to do. I only understand it because I've been making ads forever.
Right.
And sure enough, like, I just look at it, I'm like, dude, these guys could try to do it, but they won't figure it out. It's the same way with organic social. They can try to do it, but they're not going to figure it out.
Yeah.
The best of the best. Like, there is true creativity to it, unlike all the other marketing channels.
So you're saying, like, my picture of a house with like a red circle on it and an older couple on it, that's not...
Bro, let me tell you why these other agencies don't work for social media. They literally hire actors from Fiverr and like do the ad. And then like well,
do they? I've never seen that.
That's what they do.
Okay.
Do you think these digital marketing nerds are out there doing the content themselves, filming ads for sellers? Do you think they've ever even been in a seller's house and had a negotiation or even know what to say? No, that's why they don't work.
Yeah.
That's why most people try to make content. It doesn't work. Like, it takes actual skill and talent to do it.
Yeah.
And so, it's just like, I've realized, I'm like, oh, bro, I'm going to kill this for a long time. Because
you're taking your success from your ability to create content organically and applying it over here to give yourself a competitive advantage. Because they could go and hire copywriters. They could go and do the media buying and this and that.
Yeah.
But the creativity is probably the biggest competitive advantage.
The ads, and then also landing page optimization, all these different things that VSLs on the landing, all the same thing I've had to do on the education side to throw big events, to throw, make money in coaching and other services. Like, we do it over here, and there's skills that I've spent millions and years learning. And so you do it over here and you start to see, like, oh my gosh, like, nobody is doing this. It's the same thing I was saying on your show 4 years ago when I was on TikTok. And I was like, guys, nobody is doing this. You need to do it. It's where the world's going. And I'll tell you why it's going. The world will inevitably end here. Because when you just look at the other forms of marketing, the cost of it's just attention, right? We're just buying attention. And so when you look at the cost of attention at other mediums, TV, for instance, right? There is a fixed number of eyeballs that are on TV. And we know that it's declining.
It's going down.
Right? So inevitably, right, if more people want to do TV and less eyeballs are there, the cost goes up because demand is high for advertising space, but there's just not a big supply. So the cost is going to go up. This is why PPC costs are going up. Because when you just think about how many people actually search cash offer for my home in your market every month, it's low. I would argue it's probably not changing. It's probably pretty static all the time. But if there's more investors coming in because they hear PPC is good, that cost is just going to keep going up.
Right.
Here's the thing. social media is not changing, right? Like more attention is going to social media. More people leave TV and go to social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we know that social media is this massive pool of eyeballs and attention, way more than all the other channels probably combined.
Right.
Right.
Well, even if they're watching TV, they're still on their social media.
They're on both, right? But my point is social media has no demand of people advertising on it for real estate investors because they think it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yet it has all the supply of eyeballs.
Right.
That's why its cost is so much lower than everything else. And we could go after this podcast, everyone could be like, I agree with Ryan, and they can go try and do it. They're still not going to saturate it because there's so much supply of eyeballs.
So now that you have figured this out, how long have you gotten it to work in Vegas?
Inflation is crazy. Right now, $3 won't even get you a gallon of gas or a cup of coffee. But the good news is it'll get you my wholesaling blueprint and a trial to Wealthy University. You might be wondering, Ryan, what are those? Well, Wealthy University is our online community where you're going to be able to network with 6, 7, and 8-figure real estate investors and entrepreneurs. We have live calls every single week. You can come and ask me questions directly every single Tuesday, and you have access to all of our courses, all the recordings of WealthCon, and exclusive events. Along with that, you're also going to get our wholesaler's blueprint, which is going to give you all the scripts we use when we talk to sellers, all the contracts that we've used to lock up hundreds of deals, and you'll even get my contractor's guide, which gives you all of the materials we use in our house flips. And if that wasn't enough, I'm also going to give you a copy of my 2 books, The Wealthy Way and Flip Your Future. All of that will be yours for just $3 by going to wealthyuniversity.com. There is no better deal for $3, especially when inflation's on the rise. So instead of maybe getting half a cup of coffee, go to wealthyuniversity.com and go get the wholesaler's blueprint and your trial today.
I've been doing Vegas now for a few months. And I mean, like I said, dude, in real estate, you're not going to actually have closings until months later, but we've locked up the same amount of things. Everything is the same, except that our cost is way different.
Yeah. And you've had multiple students inside your program that have had success with it?
Yeah. So what I did was, when I started this journey, back in January, I always just share it with our students. I'm like, guys, here's what I'm doing. Like, I'll let you know how it goes. Like I do. I'm just like transparent, like, hey, I'm doing this social media thing. I'm doing this thing. I just tell them before it actually happens. And I'm like, every week I'll report to you guys what I do. So anyways, a bunch of them saw what I was doing. And eventually they're like, dude, can you teach us? And I just was like, really, I can't. Like, it's just too hard. And I was like, you're better off just hire an agency, but like, I don't even know who can do it.
Right.
So eventually, and this is how I always start businesses, is when you have just so much demand that nobody's fulfilling, you just do it.
Right.
And so I was like, all right, guys, you know what? Let's do, I'm going to take 10 of you guys and, first 10 to do this. And I'm going to run my ads. So you don't even have to film nothing. I'll run my ads in your market because I've already been running ads in all these other markets.
Yeah.
It's like, I already know it works, but you already have market knowledge. You already have sales team. You already have boots on the ground. Let's do it. So I start running ads for 10 people. They're all in just random markets. And I see the same thing. I'm like, dude, the cost per lead is like way less. One of my students, his name's Eunice out in St. Louis. This dude's got a crazy story. He's actually 20 years old. He's been shot and he was stabbed like 27 times.
Sheesh.
Yeah, dude. He had like a rough upbringing. But in his first month, he locked up 8 deals in St. Louis. And I was like, holy crap. He came to my office. He's like, bro, this is insane. I was like, how the heck did you lock up 8 deals? Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And then I saw the same thing like across these other markets, like cost per leads were way less. One of our guys in Hawaii, he's like, bro, I pay $1,500 for a PPC lead in Hawaii. Hawaii's probably the most expensive market.
Oh, yeah. That's not unreasonable at all in Hawaii.
No. His average cost per lead, like over months, was $250. And he was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And for him, I had to actually like help him revamp his sales team because he's not used to like having so many leads. For real. Yeah. It's a problem. It actually becomes a problem.
It's a fantastic problem.
Yeah. But the problem is, and he's still actively working on it, but it's like, bro, all these guys want to sell. And guess what, dude? In Hawaii, your homes are like $1 million. Worst case, get a listing.
Right.
You make 30 G's.
More than wholesale fee.
Yeah. I'm like, just you should at least be running every appointment, getting a listing. But like, that's kind of been the mindset shift that a bunch of these people have had to have because they've never done inbound marketing at a high level, right? They've bought from wholesalers, they've bought from relationships. And so it's having this shift, and you teach it with sales training where it's like, guys, if they want to sell the property, it's just strictly how good are you at sales?
Yeah.
How good are you at giving them options, the listing, the creative deal, the novation, the cash offer? Because if somebody tells me they want to sell their home and I don't get the deal, that's on me.
Right.
Right?
100%. That's one of the things I've harped on quite a bit in our sales trainings. Like if they said they wanted to sell, you walk out with something.
Yeah. And we're so long story short, just to get to why I'm saying this. So we have great success with the beta. I'm like, all right, I'm going full force on this. So I launch it to the masses, signed a bunch of other clients. The company's called Lead Kitchen. So,
So if someone is interested, that's not in your program, that's an option now.
Yeah.
To join.
Yep. So anyone can join. You can just link to it down below this.
But I'll put the link in the show notes.
Yeah. And so now we're doing it for clients everywhere. And it's a unique model because it's not like pay-per-lead where, with pay-per-lead, one of the problems is there's no transparency. You don't know if the lead's being sold to somebody else. You don't know where they got it from. You don't know what time of day they got it, which to me is the biggest problem because if we know that speed to lead in sales is like probably the most important thing.
Yeah.
If I don't know when you got the lead, that's a massive issue.
Yeah.
So we don't do pay-per-lead. Like everything goes directly to the client. Like we set up an ad account with the provider. So it goes directly to you. There's full transparency. And then we just work off of a profit split. So we just take 20% of the profit. That's it. So like, it's a unique model in that way. Cause I would rather,
different model.
Yeah. I would rather them get more at bats and then I make more on the back end.
Yeah.
Versus just charging them upfront for the lead, like pay-per-lead would.
Yeah. Well, you're accountable to the results.
Yeah. And that's why back to the example in Hawaii, I'm like, bro, I'm pissed you're not doing better. Like you should be going on every appointment because your guy doesn't want to go on these appointments because he's like, oh, well, they want market value. And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like go on every appointment. If somebody tells you, and this is for anybody listening, I don't care if you use us or not. If somebody says they want to sell their home, I don't care how much they want. Go see their home and try to do a deal. I can't tell you how many deals we've done over the years. We're like, yeah, I want market value. And then we get there and they take some crazy low cash offer.
Yeah. If they're not saying I want market value, there's something wrong, right? Everyone should be clamoring for market value. And it's up to us.
All I care about is, do they want to sell the home?
Yeah.
And if you do, you have a qualified, great, amazing lead.
Exactly. So Lead Kitchen, we're going to put the link down below. Now, one of the other major pivots you've done, and I want to talk about this before we talk about my rebrand.
Yep.
Is you've gone all in on the Wealthy Way.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the rebrand.
Yeah. So, I wrote the book, The Wealthy Way, at the end of 22. So in about a year and a half. And
because you were Ryan Pineda.
Yeah.
Ryan Pineda Show.
Yeah.
Home Run Offers.
Yeah.
Right? Like you've got all these other entities.
Yeah.
And you've kind of consolidated everything into Wealthy.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, I wrote the book and it was just the idea of the book is that like life is so much more than just making money, right? That's kind of always been my brand. Like, hey, dude, I'm going to leave the office at 5. I'm going to hang out with my kids on the weekends. I'm going to be a family man, a man of faith. I'm going to, stay in shape. Like being wealthy is being great and having abundance in all areas of life. Now, obviously making money is a huge part of it too. But that was kind of the message of the book. But as time went on, I just started to realize like, it's easier to like really go all in on one brand and one word and everything else. And so thankfully for me, that word is wealth, which is like a great word to own.
Pretty good thing to own, right?
Yeah.
It's like if you think of Kleenex and Ryan, that'd be a pretty good situation. Like Kleenex and Wealthy and Ryan.
Yeah. So, I've really kind of just like taken that word, just like Cardone has taken 10X and others have taken, these other words, right? And so, yeah, we just started naming every company either Wealthy or Pineda, and it actually made my life easier because I didn't need to think of like all these crazy names anymore. So that was a good byproduct of it. And yeah, I just think that when you really just go deep on a word or a brand, like people start to just associate it with you all the time. Now, I will say, because somebody's probably wondering, why'd you name it Lead Kitchen? Why not Wealthy Leads or
Wealthy Kitchen?
The Wealthy Kitchen. Honestly, the only reason I named it Lead Kitchen is because I have an intention to build it to sell. And so I still want to keep my core stuff. And I do want to build this to sell one day.
Yeah. But you rebranded the Ryan Pineda Show.
Yeah.
To
Wealthy Way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How's that journey been?
It's great, man. I think that, like, once again, right? Wealthy Way is just, it just sounds good.
Mhm.
And it emulates what I want people to do. I want them to live the wealthy way. And it fits in with all the businesses. They're all wealthy university, wealthy investor, wealthy creator. It just all fits, man. I just think that when I think about branding and other things and marketing, there's like different forms of it. And I've heard Gary Vee talk about this in his newest book, Day Trading Attention. It's like, all right, okay, Ryan Pineda. That is a person who is also a brand. Then you have the Wealthy Way and just all the wealthy brands. And so it's like, people don't really want to wear a Ryan Pineda shirt. Okay. The only time that ever works is in sports.
Right.
When you wear somebody's jersey.
Yeah.
Right. But they will wear a wealthy shirt, and like all this merch and everything else. And then
I
think
like Russell Brunson with Funnel Hacker and that kind of
yeah,
stuff.
like you'll identify as a funnel hacker. You'll identify as a wealth builder.
Mhm.
And then like another piece to that is a mascot. You learn this in sports. And so it's like we have Judah, the lion. If you ever see me wearing my lion stuff, actually he's right here.
Yeah.
So, Judah, that's Judah. And so next, and speaking of our events, they're called WealthCon, which you're speaking at, by the way.
Right.
I forgot we didn't even talk about that.
Yeah, next month.
Yeah. So, WealthCon, I want to actually get a Judah like mascot walking around.
Oh, that's
people
awesome.
can take pictures with and all that stuff.
Man, that's brilliant. I mean, I can see how well that's already going to work
yeah.
on social media.
And think about like, if he's just some goofy mascot, like freaking having fun and like doing backflips and stuff,
Yeah.
that'd be tight.
Yeah, because I think wanting to let people know that you're associated with wealth,
Yes.
right? Like no one's like, I don't know about that brand.
Yeah. Poverty. The Poverty Podcast.
Yeah. So rebranding, packaging everything the wealthy way. This has been impactful and what's the word? Not consolidating, but like really focusing the attention that you're building.
Yeah, it just reiterates this wealth and this association. And like every wealth con we throw, it's just more brand association.
Yeah.
But what's a funny story? Even like as much as rebranding's tough, because originally my education was called Future Flipper, and we had like everything, just a different random name. And so when I brought them all under the Wealthy brand, it made life easier. But like people always would call it Future Flipper and other things in the early, let's just say first 6 months.
Yeah, the transition.
Yeah. Now nobody does that, right? And WealthCon, like I've been doing WealthCon for like 4 years every quarter. It just was called lots of different things until finally the rebrand happened. I'm like, well, no. So then I was like, dude, I'm gonna call it WealthCon. I was like, that's a tight name.
Great name.
And then just like, it's been that ever since. And yeah, it's exciting, man. So they should definitely come. They got to see you speak.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about sales. So, so I'm doing the rebrand. Again, I asked you to come on because you've obviously gone down the same exact journey, right? I mean, you've gone through all these different ventures. So for us, we're really focusing, like we've done real estate disruptors for, 6 years now, right? We launched it in May of 2018.
Yep.
And we've been extremely consistent with the real estate disruptors brand. But as we've been offering sales training to more and more people, I personally experienced this, right? All my clients are in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And when real estate went through some tough times,
they cut you.
I was an expense on that, on their P&L, right? So I said, well, okay, well, that sucks. And B, we got to do something about it.
Yeah.
And so in 23, we not rebranded, but we added more people that we would sell to, right?
Yeah.
What other industries you'd be on. So for me, I'm looking at, instead of real estate disruptors, it's disruptors. And disruptor for me is an entrepreneur, right? Someone that's gone through the journey, someone that started and had the struggle.
Yep.
And now has experienced success, and now they can share the story of the success. So it's not going to be, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not just another podcast. It's still going to be the same story.
Yeah.
But now whoever comes on, so let's say Ryan, the disruptor, has his audience that may see value in sales training.
Yeah.
And that's someone we can capture on the back end with our podcast.
Yeah, yeah. So my initial thoughts and feedback is like, and I've had to go through this personally, so take for what you will.
Mm-hmm.
We both start out in real estate.
Yeah.
Okay. And real estate is still going to be always the core of what we do, I would imagine. Okay. And I've done lots of things beyond real estate, right?
Right.
Both successes and failures. And what I keep finding myself going back to is real estate.
Yeah.
Ironically. And I actually had this from Neil Patel. So Neil spoke at my last WealthCon. He's been on my podcast a couple of times. And Neil is worth hundreds of millions. If not, he's a billionaire already. He's under 40. And this dude
under 40?
Yes. For anyone who doesn't know him, he's just like the premier go-to source for digital marketing.
I look at him as an SEO guy. Am I looking at it wrong? Like he's like the king of SEO.
Yep. So that's a great point that you bring that up, right? So Neil, just to give some context to where he is today, he manages billions of ad spend from like Apple, Microsoft.
Really? Okay.
Massive Fortune 500 companies. He manages their ad spend. He's an agency.
Yeah.
Okay. Gary Vee is the same way, by the way. For those who don't know, Gary Vee makes his money as an ad agency. So clearly there's a lot of money in marketing, which led me to thinking Lead Kitchen's probably a smart thing to do and be the best agency for real estate investors.
Right.
Total side thing. But with Neil, he started out as the niche of the niche of the niche, SEO. That's just such a small niche of marketing. Right. And
that's a small niche that people don't want to spend money on.
Yeah. And so he becomes the best in the world at SEO. Nobody can touch him as far as his content, his results, everything else. But then, obviously within SEO, you're going to learn other aspects of digital marketing.
Right.
And so he learns all the social media platforms and all these other forms of advertising. And then, they want him to do those things for them too. Right. And now if you look at his content, still clearly he's going to talk about SEO, but that's not only thing he talks about like it would have been in the early days. So I think what happens is, as disruptors, we have to start within a niche of a niche of a niche.
Right.
And just own it. So for me, I started out as a house flipper. That is a niche within real estate. I wasn't like an apartment guy. I wasn't like even a wholesale guy, even though we were doing that. I wasn't a creative guy. I wasn't a, Airbnb guy, like house flipping. I was like, I just want to be the most known house flipper on YouTube and TikTok. That was my goal. And I felt like I did a pretty good job of that after a couple of years.
For sure.
And so then I said, how do you broaden out? Just like what you're asking yourself. And so I said, okay, I'm going to broaden out into just like the pure entrepreneur space. And so, I start teaching people content and social media and branding because that's what people wanted from me.
But I was one of your $500 course buyers.
There we go.
Social media.
There we go. And I've had so many people, we've made millions teaching people social media too. And so it's not like it's this just side hustle.
Right.
Like a lot of people still to this day will come to us to learn personal brand. Then we started realizing that people wanted us to teach them just general business. Like my lawyer's with me here today. He started as a client, right? And so now I'm a client of his.
Yeah.
And so it's just like I started to get all these random industries reaching out to me about branding, about building offers, about marketing, all this good stuff. And so, I've been in this broad kind of just entrepreneurial niche. Then I started getting more outspoken about faith. And I started just incorporating faith into my events, into my content, because that's just what I felt God calling me to do. And so, I started a nonprofit and I was like, man, this is kind of where my heart's at. And I think in the end, you keep going upstream into more broad. And so it's like, for me, it was house flipping to general real estate to entrepreneurship to now faith. Like faith is a huge segment. And I think when you look at, let's take a guy like Patrick Bet-David, he starts in insurance, he starts in, then entrepreneurship, now he's in politics. Politics is another huge one. I think those are good if you desire to reach like a massive amount of people. But what Neil Patel would argue is that you will make less money doing that. And he's right. I now believe that he's right after just doing it myself. And saying that, he's like, if you just go super deep on real estate, Ryan, he's told me this multiple times. He's like, you will make more money. The question is just, do you want to? And is that part of your purpose? That's the only two things you got to decide.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I want to make more money. Like, I think we all do. But I also like these other things. And so, long story short, where I'm at with all of it is I find myself going back to the core of what I do, which Lead Kitchen would be an example of that. Mm-hmm. Like, let's service all these real estate people because that is what I've been doing for over a decade.
Yeah.
I will always be known for it, regardless of whatever other avenues end up playing out. And I just know it better than anything else I know.
Yeah.
So, like, it's an interesting thing I've gone through.
Yeah. So I can say for myself, the joke I've always made before was like, I love everything but real estate. except for houses and people, right? If we could just eliminate the people that make things difficult in the houses, I would love real estate, right?
But then you wouldn't need sales training.
Right. And so for me, as my biggest struggle, as a engineer in the past, was the sales component, right? So I've gone really deep into sales, human psychology, this and that. And so when I teach sales, the people that we teach have consistently said, like, we can teach it better than other people, right? So I'm passionate about human psychology, passionate about entrepreneurship. And so I see sales as within that niche of entrepreneurship.
Yeah, and I think that if sales becomes your now new niche, right? Once again, you could niche of the niche, real estate sales.
Yeah.
You could do, from there, just entrepreneur sales. And I think like there's lots of examples of sales trainers. I've interviewed all the top guys on my show. I've talked to Jeremy Miner. I've talked to Andy Elliott. I've talked to Cardone. I've talked to Daniel
Cole.
G. I've talked to Cole.
Yeah.
So like, even if I look at them, they still have a niche in sales.
Yeah.
I would say Cole Gordon's is for, course creators and coaches. High ticket. Andy's is still car sales guys. A big chunk of what he does is car sales. Cardone, he's also in the car sales world. He's got a huge chunk of car sales people still. People don't realize.
I didn't know that.
Yep. Jeremy, I'm not too sure what he's doing. I would say
he seems more B2B.
Yeah.
Seems like.
Yeah, I would guess he's probably very similar to Cole, if I had to guess.
Yeah.
So, the one thing I haven't seen, but I have friends who are in tech, like nobody's a tech sales guy, but there's huge money in tech sales.
Yeah. I think Cole dabbled in that for a bit, and I see some of his, because, you do that media library search ads, right? You can see like he's targeting that. So, like for me, here's my journey. I've been known as the real estate sales trainer, right?
Yeah.
For the last few years.
Which is a great niche.
Fantastic, extremely lucrative niche, right?
Yeah, and there's not many people in it.
There's not, right? And so like I've tried to broaden out, and so I've started doing my own marketing, right? So I had a conversation about marketing. So I started doing my own Facebook marketing.
Yep.
Right, which these people don't know me.
Yeah.
And so as I've gone through there.
By the way, how hard was it?
So I have not mastered yet, which I'm pissed, right?
Well, this is my point about why I just knew with what I was doing in Lead Kitchen. I'm like, bro, people, my students are like, dude, can you teach us that? I'm like, no, I can't. Like, it's just way more complex than you could even realize.
It's a lot of complexity. So like, not everyone knows. I used to do my own Facebook ads back in the day, right? Like 7 years ago.
Yeah.
So I had some foundation, but lots has changed. A lot has changed.
Nothing's the same.
A lot has changed. I thought, oh yeah, I already done it before. It should be fine. But the greatest challenge is getting the language correct. The getting the sales copy is so I hired a coach, right? And just a few things, just a few words can make all the difference, right? You can go from like a 1.3 click-through rate to a 1.8 click-through rate, just changing a sentence.
Yeah.
Right? And
bro, like, dude, I can't tell you what I know today now that's just, like I said, it impacts the real estate business. It impacts the education. It impacts any business I ever want to start going forward.
Yeah.
And that's why I just knew it was going to be the skill I had to learn.
Right.
And if like anyone listened to my podcast at the end of 23, I was like, guys, I'm on a mission to become one of the best, if not the best, digital marketer in the world. And be like, well, that's a weird goal. And I was like, because that skill is where the money's at. Like that skill is where Neil Patel got paid, where Gary Vee got paid, where everybody wants the skill, whatever the case is. And over the last 6 months, you can go look on my account, but I've had the best in the world come to my office for a reason. I'm like, I need to learn what they know. I got to spend a full day with Russell Brunson and just like learns, dude, that one day, who knows what it'll make from just everything.
And he charges up to $100,000 to coach with him, and just
no, dude, he charges $250 to like to get his number and to like have access to, but you won't even get to spend a full day with him one-on-one.
Yeah.
I don't know what you would charge for that.
Yeah.
But it was free, so it was great.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. So, but yeah, the other reason why I'm going hard, right? Because I also hired the agencies and it just did not work out. It was not a pleasant experience, right?
Yeah.
But I'm looking at this. What is the number one skill in real estate?
Generating leads.
Yeah. Getting motivated homeowners to raise their hand.
I don't care how good your sales is if you have no leads.
Right. That is the number one skill. You've got to learn that skill.
Yep.
Right. And so I looked at this as an entrepreneur, as a business owner.
Yeah.
I need to get good at this marketing component, right? I need to become world class at it, because this is the skill that sales, critical skill, right? But without the leads, sales are irrelevant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you have a lot of leads, you can be bad at sales because you have more
Sure.
at-bats.
Yeah, if you're excellent, if you're good enough. Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, like when I first started doing social media organic, these are the hottest leads of the hottest leads, right? Organic social media leads.
Yeah.
Nothing gets hotter. People have been watching your stuff for however long they've been watching it. They responded to a call to action.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically like, here's my money. Just like sell me the right thing.
Right.
Right. And you can get by having bad sales team. Like
Right.
I had a very bad sales team early on because I just didn't know. And then I remember we started running paid. They're like, these leads suck. And I'm like, well, yeah, they're not like just handing you their credit card like within 2 minutes.
Yeah, you're not walking into Best Buy.
You're not an order taker anymore. You know, you got to actually be a salesperson. I
Right.
know it sucks, but that's what you got to do.
Yeah, you actually have to do your job.
Before you were an order taker, you weren't a salesperson. You were an order taker.
Right. Yeah. So, and that's the exact experience I'm having, right? So now that I'm doing Facebook ads, like these people don't know who I am.
They have no
Right.
idea.
So when I went back to my coach, I was like, hey, like what, I'm struggling here. Like, what's the problem? He's like, well, the problem is there's a very high awareness of sales training.
Yeah.
You need to niche down. It's like, okay, so I'm going back to real estate coaching. So now my marketing, if you look at it, it's like I'm the real estate sales trainer.
And this is exactly
that's
the
like
point
you
I
in
was
Vegas.
making. Yes, this is exactly the point I was making. You end up going back to the thing that is your core niche.
Mhm.
And I'll even take this a step further. So I was talking to Leon and Collective Genius yesterday
Mhm.
about getting Lead Kitchen into Collective Genius.
Mhm.
And so we're having this conversation. It's great. And he was like, hey, the thing I really like about what you're doing with Lead Kitchen was that because he asked, he goes, do you do PPC? Do you do the other stuff? I go, no, we just do social media. He's like, I actually really like that because you're saying, this is what we do. This is all we do. We're the experts at this. Clearly, my track record in everything I've ever done on social media is better than everyone.
Mhm.
So like, there's just such great alignment with your marketing.
Yeah.
Of like, dude, you want social media marketing for real estate? Name somebody. Who you going to bet on? Right.
Yeah.
And he was like, I like that you don't have PPC and all these other things
Mhm.
because it kind of just dilutes the brand. And you get agencies who do this. Agencies who are like, yeah, dude, we can do some PPC for you.
Mhm.
We'll run some Facebook ads. We'll do a little bit of this.
You know, I've seen companies that do this.
Exactly.
Right? There's a big
Why would you
one.
trust them? No, but I'm just saying, like, you can't be good at all of them. You just can't.
No.
So, like, you have to show, like, yo, I am the best
Right.
at social media ads for real estate investors.
Mhm.
I am not the best at social media ads for course creators or sales trainers.
Right.
But that would be a niche for somebody. Yo, my ads crush for sales trainers.
Yeah.
And you would buy it. If somebody had that, you'd be
Mhm.
like, dude, can I please try that agency? Like
Right.
they understand what I'm trying to do.
Exactly. Yeah. So hopefully, if everyone's watching, right, like you have to hear like, your journey
Yeah.
in the last, really 4 years of this just constant evolution.
Yeah.
And I don't know how much more evolution it'd be because it sounds like you really nailed the message. And then this is my journey, right? Going to organically more broad, but unpaid, going back to my niche.
So my question is though, like, should we bring back the Real Estate Disruptors podcast? Because this is how I view paid in terms of any marketing. And I even do this with home sellers, even though it may not seem congruent. But like in some of my ads with home sellers, I'm like, yo, I want to buy your house. We'll give you a cash offer, all this stuff. And I go, and hey, my name's Ryan Pineda. Here's what I've done. Here's how many houses I've bought. We've bought over $100 million of real estate, and I want yours to be next. And by the way, if you want, go feel free to look me up. You can go find me on YouTube. You could find me on TikTok, Instagram. Go look me up. See that it's legit and, whatever, right?
Right.
And is all my Instagram and all this stuff ever talking about like buying houses from homeowners? No, right? But they're going to see credibility of like, oh, dude, this guy's like a real person who's putting out content. He has real people on his show. Like he buys houses, like he talks about buying houses and, whatever else. So what I believe, and that's just a homeowner example, and education's even bigger,
Right.
because it's like, hey, you should learn to do real estate with us. And then, they're going to go watch all this content. Because paid is cold, it requires more nurturing.
Right.
Especially with buying education. And so it's like, you're organic in my mind these days. Yes, it can get leads and yes, it gets conversions, but I think it confirms the paid. And then they see the paid again and then they're ready to buy.
Right. Absolutely.
So I do think that obviously like Disruptors can be a broad brand like Wealthy Way. But even for me with our content, my guy will tell you, I have to be conscious now to do more real estate content because it's not my first instinct. Because most of the people I bring on my show are not real estate. There's only so many cool real estate guys. Like it is what it is, right? And most don't have a following.
80-90% of them.
Yeah, like and most don't have a following, right? There's a lot of beasts, but no one knows who they are, right? And then just at the end of the day, dude, real estate friggin' there's like, oh, so you got the house for under market value. Amazing. Like what happens after that? Oh, you found a buyer? Cool.
Yeah.
Like it's the same conversation over and over again. But I have to find myself doing that because I don't interview a lot of real estate guys. So what do I have to do? I have to go do my own solo podcast and solo trainings about real estate concepts.
Right.
And then that's the content that gets them into all these other things.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. So I have...
And by the way, that content won't get a lot of views, which is totally fine.
Right.
Because they get the right views.
Yeah. The right people are finding it.
Yeah.
So do you have in part of the... I guess as part of the, this nurturing sequence, right? Having them do their research on you, you've got, 7 years or so, right? Your body of work. You don't think that is enough. You think you have to create current content around real estate.
Yeah. Yeah. Dude, if you stop making content today, you'll become irrelevant tomorrow.
Yeah.
Like Cardone talks about it all the time. His whole job for his company is just staying relevant.
Right. No, for sure you got to stay relevant, right? But like, you were talking about how he still sells car sales training.
Yeah.
Is he creating content around car sales?
I mean, look, this is another trap that people fall into is they compare themselves to Cardones and Gary V's and stuff, who they do things their way at their level.
Right.
We can't do things the way they do it.
Yeah.
So we can't really look at what they're doing. What we really want to look at is people that are like a level above us, not 10 levels above us.
Yeah.
And so,
well, that's why you're here. You're the one that's one level above me.
Perfect. Right. So I'm the perfect guy for you to listen to.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that for us anyways, we still need to make a lot of content to the core niche.
Yeah.
If we want to make money.
Sure. All right. So that's good to know, right? Because I am creating content consistently on Instagram, right? Yeah. It's about sales, but we'll mix in more real estate.
Yeah, you're going to have to do that, right? Because you're going to just talk general sales. And I mean, just think about it, right? Okay. I'm a customer and I have a real estate company. Okay. Let's say I've never heard of you before, which is who you want. So then I see you got this show called Disruptors. It doesn't tell me that you do real estate sales training or anything. Right. And you enter the one episode I watch is you and somebody else, not a real estate guy.
Right.
I'm like, okay, this guy teaches sales. That's cool. But then let's just say there's Evil Steve, who teaches sales training nonstop to real estate. His show is Real Estate Disruptors. His ads are always real estate. His content is always real estate. If I'm a real estate guy, I'm picking Evil Steve as my guy I want to buy from. So it's like a double-edged sword.
Right.
Because as good Steve, you're going to have to hope that by the people you lose, you make up for it with broad people too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're the only one that can answer that. I don't know what the answer is going to be.
Yeah, no, you got my wheels turning for sure.
Because that's it. Like Evil Steve will have less of a following than, broad Steve.
Right. But he might have the 100 raving fans.
And he might make more money.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely something to consider. So,
that's what Neil Patel will tell you. I'm just learning stuff I've learned from Neil Patel and then having my own realization and seeing how easy it's been to sell Lead Kitchen because that is my core audience and I'm the best. And it's just like, if you're the best real estate sales trainer, which I believe you are, do I think you're the best sales trainer in the world? Well, that's a big competitive pool.
Yeah, we'll find out. We'll find out in a couple of years.
Yeah. But today, right? Because
today I am not a brand name.
Okay, so today, you could be the very best in this niche, and everyone in this niche, which is a big niche, would buy from you.
Right.
But then now you got to compete with all the other people I mentioned in the broad niche.
I know.
And so it's like
I'm like, what was that? It was that Adam Sandler movie where he went back to school and he's got that list.
Happy Madison.
There you go.
Or Billy Madison.
Billy Madison.
Happy Madison's his brand. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, it's like, all right, here's a list.
Yeah. I'm going to kill this guy. Yep. But like, dude, and this is for anyone listening. This is just like an evolution I've had to go through because I think the mistake we make is trying to go broad too quick.
Yeah.
And we look at guys like Gary Vee and Cardone and whoever else, and like they're broad now, but we forget Gary Vee did wine for 15 years.
Yeah, I still remember like someone sent me like a YouTube video link. Like, there's this crazy guy who's just screaming about wine on YouTube, right? Like, this is back when he started.
Yeah,
and I watched it. I was like, this guy is crazy.
Yeah, he did wine for 15 years, and it just goes back to. You're gonna have to just link to my episode with Neil Patel down below.
Yeah.
Because he summed it up so good. He was like, Ryan, you just have to decide what you want to optimize for. You want to optimize for like being bigger and having more views and having more audience, or do you want to optimize for making money?
Yeah. Because
in most cases, they're two different paths.
Yeah.
You know? And you're gonna see a lot more real estate content from me. Now, I do still have like a big audience and it's fine. Like, I'm glad I've done what I've done, but I'm going to go all in on lead kitchen and audience and real estate content because I believe that just like I believed when I was on your show a couple of years ago with TikTok, I believe there was this unique point in the world where like TikTok was primed to explode. YouTube was primed to explode. And like, I just went all in on it.
You did.
And I believe there's this unique time right now where nobody's going to really figure out social media marketing for real estate investors specifically. And it's super undervalued compared to all these other freaking channels that people are paying crazy prices for.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to go dominate it.
Yeah.
And
well,
like,
I love your ability to like see around the corner. Right. And I still remember, I think it was like your first or your second TikTok video of you like sliding across the house on the chair.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, guys, I'm doing TikTok. I don't know what I'm doing, but here's my first video.
Yeah. It's just like, dude, this is like addicting. People are going to use this.
Yeah.
The sellers are on social media. Yeah. Why is nobody trying to get them?
They don't know how. The amount of work, because you just mentioned the amount of work necessary to get there is like, I'd rather just hire somebody else out.
Yeah. But they don't know how either.
Yeah. So the links below will have a link if someone's interested in Lead Kitchen, a link to the Neil Patel.
Yeah. I'll give you that link. Yeah.
And then also a link to WealthCon.
Yeah, dude. WealthCon, July 19th to the 21st.
Yeah.
Me and Steve will friggin' hang out with you. You want to come to the Diamond Dinner?
Sure. All right. Absolutely.
So Steve's going to be at the Diamond Dinner if you guys want a Diamond ticket.
Yep. So go sign up, Diamond ticket. You'll be having dinner with Ryan and me.
Yeah, and others. We're gonna have Andy Elliott, you, me, Sam Prim.
Got a pretty loaded list there.
I can't even remember. This is it. Carlos. This is gonna be a lot.
Yeah, there's like 20 like big names. You've managed to attract a lot of incredible people to this.
Oh, Brandon Turner's. I forgot Brandon Turner.
Yeah, you know that former Bigger Pockets guy. Right?
The Godfather.
Yeah, you know, the whole open door fund. Whatever, that guy.
Yeah. $1 billion of real estate. He's pretty good.
He knows what he's doing. Cool. Perfect. All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate this.
Appreciate you, bro.
Pleasure.